The name of this next horse is Hoof Hearted, but listen to the call.
Hoof Hearted on the extreme outside. Colorado Co-Ed, Toast a Dozen on the inside. Questern Jet, Hoof Hearted on the outside, it's close. Hoof Hearted in the winner's circle.
¡Claro que sí! ¡Ay, ja, ja! ¡Sí, señor!
What is up, pod people? This is another episode of Hoof Hearted. I am Doc, and with me today is a special guest. I know it sounds a little different. We are recording, because I have a guest here at my house, we are recording in a large room without any kind of soundproofing and not a closet with all sorts of clothes that dampen the sound. So sorry for the little echo. I'm still new to this thing, so bear with me. But today I have a guest. Actually, he's a coworker. Just met him, and he's a cool dude, and he's got quite some history in radio. He could give us an idea of what it was like to be in radio. I mean, now we're doing podcasts, which is like radio, and he could kind of tell us what the olden days were like, I guess, but not too old, right?
Oh, yeah, actually, it was awesome. It was kind of the dawning of the 90s coming in. I started in 1987 in a little AM station. I just kind of fell upon it. You know, I thought it was actually some musicians moving into a small little building. And the guy asked me, he said, hey, where'd you get that voice? And I'm 17 years old and I'm going to high school, I come in, I read a couple liners, and I became the Midnight 6 disc jockey from there on out. It was an AM station. We were way out on Rexland Acres, South Union Avenue, little tiny building. It wasn't what I expected. I've been in radio stations before as a little kid, but man, this place was something. You walk in and the studio, carpet on the walls, music on the walls. Basically, you had a board, 6 cart machines, 2 turntables, and a microphone.
All right, man.
That's how it was.
What is a cart machine? So everybody can understand what that is.
Carts are played like, instead of records and vinyl that will skip, man, they were looking for something different that is foolproof. And carts is like an 8-track tape. Only they carry 1 track. All your commercial spots, even today, are done on carts. A lot of the music were done on carts back then as well. But some of us DJs had the freedom to use those turntables, and that's what I loved. It was the whole, man, when I remember as a kid seeing a scene in American Graffiti with Wolfman Jack and Richard Dreyfuss, and that scene just really, I remember as a kid, that's what I want to do. That's what I like to do for a living.
Cool.
and it was a lot of fun. So it was primitive, no doubt. It was primitive.
Yeah. So so everyone knows, we are talking to Silo. I don't know if I introduced him. So his name is Silo. Was that your radio name?
Actually, no, Silo came a little bit longer. I went under, my first name was Moondog Tommy B when I was in 96. And then I went from that to my real name, which is Tom Barrett. I went to FM radio and I became Chris Thomas. And I pretty much, through Kelly 95, I was always Chris Thomas, and it just stuck. The listeners kind of remembered the name. And that was one of the fun things about doing radio, is creating a character, and being able to put it on 9 to 5 and take it off at night. And, it was a lot of fun.
Okay, so you did the overnight, right?
I did overnights.
Okay, and that was on the AM station, or?
Okay, so I did overnights on AM and FM. I did morning shows. Morning shows are fun. But I really enjoyed the midnight to 6 shift. There's a different feel to it.
Yeah.
You get a little more freedom,
Yeah, for sure. And now, what was the difference between like the AM and the FM as far as not necessarily like the crowd, but like how they kind of ran it.
Difference actually. So, at least for me, my experience was this: I had a lot of freedom on that AM station.
Yeah.
I think we might have had 1,500 listeners. You know,
Yeah.
a small market. We were country music, so a lot of our demographic was the older folk because we played classic country, and then we switched to rock. I remember that when we switched, I went from the young love from the Judds straight into Guns N' Roses, Welcome to the Jungle.
Yeah.
And man, you better believe my request line started going off. It looked like a Christmas tree.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
So you got more listeners than
Yeah. So I get a call one morning from a guy. Man, this guy, he called himself Spidey. Man, everyone knew who Spidey was. And I always wanted to work for Spidey. He calls me up one morning at the AM station, and he asked me to come in for an interview, in which I do. So I nail a job over at Power 105, KKXX, FM 108. And that was my first FM gig. And now everything in this radio business that I've known is about to get flipped upside down. So there's the freedom is tightened up. Once you get into an FM station that is, you've got a significantly bigger listener base. They pull rein on you. And boy, that was the part that frustrated me because I felt like I was a line reader instead of a radio personality.
Oh, yeah.
You see? And
Scripts
as
and stuff,
digital
yeah.
started to come in, you'll notice that radio isn't the way it used to be.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, radio used to make stars like Don Imus and Wolfman Jack and Casey Kasem and Rick Dees.
Yeah.
I mean, Shadow Stevens. These guys, they were kind of like rock stars. We all know who they were, but that's gone now.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You know,
yeah.
that's gone. And that really saddened me, and probably one of the reasons as to why I kind of stepped out of that business, you know, yeah.
Well, I mean, you also had, Art LeBeau? Do you know? Yeah, Art LeBeau. And then, but nowadays the only kind of radio stars I think that there would be would just be like the talk radio guys, and it's all like politics.
And it's all politics. I mean, they've got their demographic, and I respect that. I understand that. I guess talk radio just really wasn't my thing, though I kind of did it.
Yeah.
When we were doing an AM station, now our station was falling behind. The owner wasn't making any money. We weren't getting a lot of advertising business, and that's where the money is, advertising. That's how we get paid. So we started auctioning things off. So every Sunday morning from like 9 to noon, for 3 hours, we'd have an auction, and we'd auction these items off. And it could be anything from a free massage at this massage place or dinner for two at Del Taco, stuff like that. And unfortunately, that's kind of how they were paying us.
Oh, wow. Okay, so you were running that auction show?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, because I remember...
It was an on-air auction. Me and a guy named Jay Stone. He's in one studio, I'm in the other, and we just take callers, and we auction off some of this stuff.
Yeah, I remember that. That thing went on for a long time.
Yeah. It went on for quite a while, yep.
Yeah, I used to like that.
A lot of people did. Man, I tell you, my mother used to call in all the time. And she thought it was neat that her son was on the radio, but she'd crank the radio up so she can hear herself on the radio, and that creates all that.
Oh, yeah.
It frustrated me. Every time she would call, I'd be like, oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, can't you just let your little boy work?
Yeah, that's funny, dude. Yeah. So you liked not doing the talk radio or the auction stuff. You preferred doing the music. Was that because you're just so into music, or?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And I know the music. Music's always been a big part of my life. Musician. My folks, I kind of come from a stranger, not really strange background with music. It's just that I was raised on country music, and I didn't really get a taste of rock until I was about 12 or 13 years old. Fell in love with it.
Yeah.
And being a musician, music's always, it's the way it just makes me feel you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah. And knowing all the hits and knowing a lot about it. I was that kid who I didn't buy the records just to listen to the records. I read the sleeves of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I knew a lot about. I knew who the studio musicians were. I knew the behind the story about a lot of the songs. And I brought that to the radio industry with my shows. And that's one of the things that I miss is that it's kind of cool to hear a great song on the radio, and then the DJ comes in, without spending 2 hours on it, and give you a little insight about that song that makes the listener go, "Wow, I didn't know that." That's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. The thing that I miss is you request a song, you hope that they play it, and then you get your tape recorder ready. So then that way you can record it off of the thing, and that kind of stuff is all lost now, because all the music is at your fingertips.
Right. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. And when you did that back then, damn it, if the DJ didn't talk the whole intro up, right? Every time.
Yeah,
You're like,
exactly.
you're waiting for this. You finally push record, and man, and that guy, he just talked the whole intro up. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I was that guy, by the way.
You were that guy.
I was
Yeah.
that guy, yeah.
Yeah, that's all right. That's your job. That was your job. Yeah. So I was curious because I know that with being a DJ, you'll get music before anybody else has heard it.
Correct.
So what was that feeling like knowing like this is something brand new and these people are gonna like it and they're gonna hate it?
Okay. So for me, it was really cool. Understand that. Now, look, I'm 17. I go to high school. Whenever the new music comes out, um, they put a note on it. Do not play until.
Yeah.
And they're pretty adamant about it.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know one DJ that didn't at least, whenever like the new Michael Jackson song single came out, we listened to it. Man, we
Yeah.
were all huddled up, and it could have been a new Phil Collins song or whatever. But yeah, we listened to it. As for me, the record industry sends you all kinds of stuff. And there's a saying, if you play it, say it. And it's mandatory. You got to do that. They just send you all kinds of stuff if you're a program director. And I got all these records that I would be able to bring to school. I would be in
Yeah.
96, and I take all these new records. I remember Genesis was one. And I made a crate of vinyl. And I would sit in the hallway in between classes and give out T-shirts and bumper stickers and vinyl. And that was really fun,
Yeah, man, it must have been great, like being 17 years old and then being like,
Oh
the
yeah,
shit,
I was a drum and a band geek, dude. My popularity skyrocketed.
Yeah,
after the
dude.
radio gig, yeah.
Yeah, everybody's like, "Hey, man!" And then did you get like tickets to like concerts and stuff like that?
Okay, so yeah, a lot of radio stations handle that differently. So yeah, very fortunate. I was very fortunate. I was in a situation as a young kid, and I'm talking like 7 years old, that I started meeting celebrities. You get a chance to meet a lot of great people, amazing artists, and sometimes you get if your concert or if your station is promoting the concert, you get to interview them. So what they'll do is put everyone's name in a hat and they draw. And
Oh,
whoever
okay.
gets it. Now, some radio stations work differently. That was my experience. And being able to go backstage, I remember seeing Cinderella in Badlands. That was the first time I got to go backstage to a concert. And it was cool because I got to introduce the bands to the old Civic Auditorium.
Oh,
Before
okay.
there was even a Rabobank or a
Yeah.
Civic Auditorium. And it was neat. Now I'm a senior in high school. And man, for the first time, I got to stand up in front of all those people and I felt like a rock star,
Yeah, for
And
sure.
afterwards, oh man, I can't tell you how I think 2-3 o'clock in the morning, we just sit and drank with those guys all night long, man. It was fun. Yeah, really neat. Only been starstruck twice in my life because I've been around it quite a bit. But yeah, I miss the opportunity to meet a lot of amazing artists. Yeah, it's really cool.
So the 2 times that you were starstruck, who was it?
The first time I was starstruck was Garth Brooks.
Oh, really? Okay. When was this?
This was I want to think 92.
Okay.
So
Wow. That was early on then.
yeah. It was this In Pieces tour. It's Las Vegas.
Okay.
The guy who actually got his name drawn hated country music, couldn't
okay.
stand Garth Brooks, so he passed it on to me. So he's playing the UNLV, the
College there, yeah.
Yeah, the Thomas and Mack Center. I show up for the interview, and I get in. I've got my pass, and everybody's setting up. No Garth Brooks.
Oh, wow.
So I'm waiting, and the guy walks up to me, and I tell him who I am. Oh, okay. Yeah, Garth will be out soon. He's waiting for it. Okay. I wait another hour and a half, no Garth Brooks. And I'm thinking, oh, man, this isn't going to happen. And for me, it was a big deal. That's a big interview, you know. Another hour comes back. Now, all of a sudden, I see like 9 guys, big guys. And these guys are dressed up in white tuxedos with cowboy hats on. And they're walking in a block. And they're coming towards me. And I'm thinking, holy shit. Hey, man, I was just here to see Reba McEntire. I'm in the wrong place. I'll just boogie out of here, right? And as they come to me, 2 slid to the right, 2 slid to the left. And there he was right in the middle. And he's like, what's up? I was like, man, that's the way to make an entrance.
Yeah.
The second time, when I met Henry Winkler.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The
I was going through a hard time, and a friend of mine had some tickets to benefit for Hoffman Hospice. And he said, you know what, man, I think you're going through a lot. Take these tickets, because I was a big Henry Winkler fan, you know.
Yeah.
So I go to this this shindig. It is a black tie affair, and I show up looking like Jimmy Buffett. I had no clue, right?
Oh,
but they let me in, and Henry Winkler come up to me, and he could tell. He said, "Hey, are you okay?" Man, I unleashed on this guy. Man, my wife just left me. I felt like a real ass, you know?
Yeah.
And he was the coolest guy.
Yeah.
And he said, look, I'm going to give you something I'm not allowed to give right now because of what I'm doing. I'm going to give it to you. And when you take it in your car, and when you come back, I want you to come back and see me, because you're going to be my personal friend here tonight. And I know that you probably are financially the poorest guy in here. And you're a little underdressed, but now how do you feel? And I said, Mr. Winkler, you just made me feel like $1 million. And he said, hey.
Did he really? Oh, wow.
Yeah. And those were 2 times I think I was, really starstruck.
Wow, that is so cool, man. That's cool it's always cool whenever you hear great stories like that about celebrities. So, yeah.
It really is, because, I met a lot of them, and a lot of times they're not what you think.
Yeah, of course. They're people, but
their egos get in the way. And nobody comes out unscathed with, fame and fortune. Nobody does. I get that.
Yeah.
But I remember the one time I felt like I met the real deal. I'm at a radio and records convention. And I'm thinking this is probably about 94. I'm there to meet Don Imus. And Don Imus was a radio guy. And I just love Don Imus. Real jerk.
Is he? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he was a real jerk. And I see all these people standing in line, and there's Casey Kasem. And I'm like, wow. Now, legend.
Yeah.
I got to meet Casey Kasem. You get one question. I'm watching this guy, and I think, God, I would love his gig. I'd do anything to have this guy's gig.
Yeah.
And I'm watching this guy for 10 hours. For 10 hours. He just sits there, and he shakes hands, and he just says, hi, I'm Casey Kasem.
Yeah.
Hi, Casey Kasem. I'm Casey Kasem. And I'm like, dang, this guy's been there for hours doing that. I don't think I want this guy's gig, right?
Yeah.
I get up there, and it's my turn, and I got one question to ask him. And the one question that I asked Casey Kasem was, sir, don't you break to take a piss or anything? And he smiled at me with that smile, and he nods his head, and he says, I'm Casey Kasem. I was like, now that's the real deal, man.
That's funny.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Now, Don Imus, doesn't he do some acting too?
Don Imus did a little bit of acting, I believe.
I can't remember, because I know, I'm trying to remember what his show was about.
Don Imus in the morning, WNBC.
Oh yeah, that's right. He was in the morning. I'm thinking of another guy, but I don't think you probably don't know who he is. He used to do these he used to do a show. It was almost like it was a fake call-in. show. So what he would do is he would be the actual voice calling in,
Okay.
and I can't remember his name, but he had some of the funniest things. But I know he went into acting. I can't remember his name though. But no, so okay, so you started at 17
That's correct.
here in Bakersfield,
That's
right?
correct.
Okay. All right. And what was the call letters? What was that one?
AM 13, 13K, AM 1350, 13K.
All right.
But it was Clyde Country when I started. And so
Okay.
it was KLYD was the call letters.
Okay. Yeah. And then so after that, you went where?
I went to television for a little bit.
Okay.
I went to work for the Owenses, for Buck and Dorothy Owens.
Oh, okay. All right.
Now, growing up in Bakersfield and being a big country music guy, Buck Owens was a hero of mine.
Yeah, of course.
I pretty much got to meet most of my heroes. Fortunately, a couple slipped away. Buck was one of them. And I met Buck Owens when I was 7 years old, out at a rodeo, and he put me on his lap. And
Oh,
I
wow.
just thought it was the coolest thing. So I went to TV, and I was a television engineer for a while.
Okay.
And that was a lot of fun. It was different. There's a lot more like physical work, to do other than radio. But my forte, this is what I love to do. It's just natural for me, is commercials.
Mhm.
I was a production director in radio, and I did a lot of television commercials too. I can write a commercial off the cuff like that.
Yeah.
I've done it so many times. When I was a kid, I was a weird kid, sir. Like my parents would be watching, let's say, MASH or whatever. I would go in my room, only child, no siblings. I would go in my room and I'd play. Every time the commercials would come on, I'd be front and center in front of that TV, and I would obsess over commercials. And then I'd go back into my room. Yeah. It's Smashers, it's Julian Rive. Picking him up little me, only $19.99. And my mother was like, what is wrong with this kid? And I was always that way. I remember being 12 years old. Kelly 95 just came on the air, and I noticed it was an Oildale number. Oh, that's right by my house. I've got 2 turntables, no microphone, but I'm setting my own songs, listening and writing down what the DJ's saying, and I'm memorizing it. And I call up the program director, Russ Davidson, and I tell him, you got to hire me, man. I'm a radio guy, and I'm really good. And he's like, God, you sound young. How old are you? And I told him, I'm 12 years old. This guy's like, I tell you what, son, you keep practicing. When you turn 18, you come see me. I'll give you a job. Yeah, a guy ended up giving me a job when I was 23 years old.
Really? That's great, man.
And he remembered me, too.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. Boy, those golden days were fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely a difference between AM, FM, and television. And getting back to the Owenses. Working for Buck Owens was great. I love that guy. Talk about an interview. That guy has got some stories, and he gets you in his office, and it's just over.
Yeah.
Man, I'm just going in there to talk to him about a production order. Son, back in 1971, Conway Twitty and just goes on these stories, and I just was sitting obsessed over it because I'm like, man, you don't understand. You're like a hero to me, and and here I am. But I've seen that hero in spots like the electricity went out one night at the studio, and in that old Norchester studio where he had set up home base for a long time, used to be the River Theater back in the 60s.
Is that the one that's like right across the street from the school?
That's correct.
Okay, I think Korn still records there.
Oh, do they now?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Now, that was the television station.
Okay.
And there's like swinging saloon doors that come about half-mast to your waist.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to get to the generator, and I hear this boom, boom, bam. Generator kicks on, and there's Buck on the floor, and his cowboy hat's off, and he's got a cigar in his mouth that's skewed, and he's a big guy, and I'm not.
Yeah.
And I'm just looking at him going, oh my God, my hero.
Yeah.
And he looks at me and said, are you going to sit there and look at my son, or you're going to help me up? I chose to sit and look at him.
That's funny, man. That's hilarious. Okay, so you did that. That was TV. That was after you were working. How long did you work? The starting gig that you had when you were 17, you were working radio. How long were you there before you went over to Buck
To the
Owens?
FM?
No, to the Buck Owen.
Oh, okay. Well, I did. I did the AM station for about 2 years. Then I went into FM.
Oh, okay.
Now, I started moonlighting at the TV station without telling my radio station about it, and they caught wind. It was a conflict of interest in advertising dollars.
Oh, okay, I got you.
So I had to choose one, and I'd done radio. I really was interested in doing some television, and I really liked doing the TV commercials. And who wouldn't want to go work for Buck Owens at the time, you know? So I chose the TV thing, which didn't work out for me very well. I was only there for maybe a year and a half, and just personal problems that I was having a hard time get over. So I left the television industry and took off from broadcasting for a while, and then went back to Kelly 95, and that was, I believe, the last gig that I worked was Kelly.
Oh, okay. All right then. So, and you said that you were in Vegas too, though, right?
KOMP 92.3 FM, the Rock of Las Vegas.
All right. So you played rock there?
Yes, yeah. No, I was an afternoon drive guy there.
Oh, really?
I did
Okay.
afternoons, and that was a lot of fun too. I did afternoons, but only to fill in for a DJ who who didn't show up for his gig.
Oh, okay. I got you.
It was really cool because now the Las Vegas. Now I'm talking 1991 here, though. Early 90s. The radio market is different in Vegas than it is here, and you would think it'd probably be bigger. No, they're way behind.
Well, because in Vegas, like, it really isn't until recently that it started to grow as like suburbs.
Correct.
Because it was always just desert and gambling.
That's right.
Right. And criminals.
Criminals.
So so I mean, in '91, I'm sure it was really sparse. Like,
right.
Yeah.
Now, the TV industry was different too. The TV industry was way ahead of us here, but the radio industry was different. It was flip flop. So when I got there, I had a lot of ideas that I brought, that I did here that they never heard of. I ran a lot of contests. That was fun, and I also would do I got into stand-up comedy for a little bit. Started in Vegas. I bombed in Vegas. But as a comedian, as long as you're not using other people's material, and that's a big no-no, sometimes you look for inspiration.
Yeah.
And being a DJ, I took that opportunity. So what I would do, for instance, is every Thursday morning, I'd have joke of the day.
Oh, okay, cool.
So, give me a call. I'll give you tickets to go see, the Blue Man Group or whatever we got going on, And I'd get material there. Has to be airable.
Yeah.
It can ride the fine line. And man, I stole a few jokes doing that too.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't until I came to LA and I said I'd never do it again. I met a guy and we really clicked. He always wanted to do it. So I told him, okay, this is how you write comedy. And we went down to the Comedy Store and I said, I'll go up first. And I killed it. I don't know why Vegas was so hard. Maybe because half the people that are tourists, they don't understand what you're saying. I don't know. But it just clicked for me. And boy, did I catch the bug. Haven't done comedy in a while. Don't know if I ever will again. It is so, they tie your hands a lot. It's different.
No, it's
society is so
different now.
and even doing radio, I rode the line a lot of times when I did morning shows and stuff. I love to do that. And here come this guy out of nowhere, and boy, his name was Howard Stern, and we hated him. This guy was getting
I don't like him either.
murder that we wanted. These are things that we wanted to say in material we've been wanting to use forever, and we can't. All of a sudden, this guy comes up on this high horse, and he starts doing it. And not only does he do it, man, I think he was probably the last rock star to come out of radio.
Yeah.
Because, boy, he became really big. Now, look, I respect Howard Stern. Looking back on it now, he was a pioneer. He
Yeah.
really was. He was pioneering things, and he had the balls to tell the FCC, we have freedom of speech. And man, he has just one of those ways that when he says something, people want to listen.
Yeah.
I think that's what you got to have.
Well, you're right. You're right that he was a pioneer. I mean, I think, all of these things kind of lead up to where we are now. I mean, he was huge, and I know that he wanted to say and do more. So when they ended up coming out with like XM radio and Sirius radio, the satellite radio, they had the freedom. I know it was them. I know it was him and Opie and Anthony and some of the other DJs, the talk show hosts, whatever. They went to satellite and gave people, they had that freedom.
Yes.
And then now you've got podcasts. The internet has allowed the average Joe like me to say fuck while we're recording, so it's all a progression, but at the same time though, I do feel like a lot of the, I don't know, you think back and you kind of like you think back with fondness, like with you talking about Wolfman Jack and Casey Kasem, and like, I mean, I'm 45. I don't know how old you are.
Yeah, I'm 13. I'm going on 14 right now.
Okay, but I listened to the radio a lot, and my family, we used to listen to oldies, and we had the American Graffiti soundtrack, and that had Wolfman Jack on it, and it's just kind of, I don't know, it takes me back, and I think it kind of, it sucks that like my kids don't have that kind of experience, of like sitting up at night and just being by the radio and being able to like hear, like, oh, I might be able to hear that song, that one that's your favorite song.
And you gotta wait for it.
Yeah, that you gotta wait for it.
Right.
And then
it makes you want to hear it even more.
Yeah, exactly. But then as time went on, you did end up hearing it more. Like I noticed in the last, maybe it was a thing back then too, but like 20 years or so, maybe longer. I don't know, probably 30 years, maybe longer than that. But they would just play the same damn song.
Oh yeah.
And I had a cousin that was a DJ in Roswell, New Mexico, and she was saying, I asked her, I was like, why are they playing the same songs every hour? And she told me it was because the average listening time was 15 minutes. Because it was that drive from home to work or from work to home.
Sure.
I'm like, well, that doesn't account for traffic, man.
Right,
so I don't want to listen to the same song. So, but I think that's why it was so important too. Like you have those radio personalities, So
absolutely.
Yeah.
And it saddens me to think, it was kind of like the MTV.
Yeah.
Movement when MTV first came out. I mean, you can YouTube these things anytime you want. I mean, any song you want, any video you want, it's at the palm of your hands.
Yeah.
Man, back then you had to wait for it to come on.
Yeah.
And I also think that changes the way artists sell their music now.
Yeah.
Because like I said, when we had to wait to hear those songs on the radio, that made us want to go out and buy that album even more.
Oh yeah.
Because it's the only way you get that song in the palm of your hands. And that they sold records that way. Videos sold records that way. Because we couldn't wait to see the video. And now artists have got to find a new way.
Yeah, now it's just they're just recording a song, and then that's how they're releasing it. Like I know Weird Al, I saw I read an interview with him, and he was saying that he thinks the days of him releasing an album are done. He's not going to do it anymore. He's just going to, if he comes up with a song idea, he's just going to go ahead and release it. Well, he'll record it and release it.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's that I think the days of albums, and album sales they're just kind of over.
I remember how cool it was as a kid going to the record store when an album first dropped, and it was an event.
Yeah.
It was an event to buy a new album when it first came out. I was one of those guys, because I love music, that the day Def Leppard dropped Pyromania, I was there. I bought it the day it dropped. I bought every Michael Jackson record the day it dropped.
Yeah.
It was fun. It was a bit kind of like going to the movies.
Yeah.
I mean, now you can stream it while it's still it's not an event anymore. Technology, man.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. But that same technology is allowing me to
It's
record.
bringing us to you
Yep.
right now. That's right.
Being able to talk like just I'm an average Joe, man. So I'm recording in a bedroom in my house. So that's cool.
Yeah, this is cool. It's kind of like Hot Ones meets Pump Up the Volume.
Sure, yeah,
Right?
sure, yeah. But there's no hot sauce in this.
There's no hot sauce.
No, not yet. So
I told you I'd have brought some.
no, we're all good. We're all good. So okay, so when you went to Vegas,
Mhm.
how long were you in Vegas?
I was in Vegas twice, did radio once.
Okay.
I was still doing a lot of struggling back then. That was the first time I moved away from home. So I was single, and I was playing hard.
Yeah.
And so that accounted for a lot of stuff. So I didn't do a whole lot of radio in Vegas. Comp radio was about the only place I went. Then I just started exploring because I noticed that I didn't have a lot of skills. I didn't know how to build houses. I mean, I didn't know anything about construction or anything that's going to let me get a job, allow me to get a job that's going to pay me enough money to really live.
Yeah.
Radio doesn't pay.
Yeah, I know.
And, I mean, you can get into a big, market like LA, New York, or what have you. Even Arizona. Some places in Arizona have some big markets out there too, and they pay okay. But it's love.
You're only paid if you're syndicated, really.
Oh
right?
yes, yeah. Syndication's everything.
That's the only way.
Syndication's where it's at, man. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, you were talking about you were kind of living life hard and being single, So sometimes I think that there is an idea that radio DJs were kind of like almost like rock stars, I mean, so
yeah, we like to think that.
Yeah, well, because I mean, you have all this access to all this music,
Mhm.
and then just being on the radio made you known,
local celebrity,
and a local celebrity. Yeah. So what? So was that something that you guys? I mean, like the whole crew or whatever. Did you guys like go out and like party, or did you guys? You guys?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
of course.
yeah.
I remember it would be cool. Like, I'd go to Subway with my mom, and they would know who I was, and they had the radio playing, and one of my commercials is on. But yeah, a lot of us, some of us DJs, some of us, I've noticed that a lot of the DJs we're a different breed.
Oh yeah.
We're
for sure.
we're a breed of our own. And back then, and we're talking about the 80s.
Yeah.
There was a lot out there.
Yeah.
There was a lot out there. And yeah, there were times, especially when I was doing the overnights, that I would have just a great Dan Fogelberg song playing, and I'm sitting there and segging my music, rolling a doobie right there on the board, and passing it around to the guy at the top, because there's 2 stations in our place, and he's like, "Hey, pass that in here," yeah. Well, those were the times,
Yeah. Okay, so you've done radio at all time slots?
I've worked every time slot and a lot of genres too.
Okay. So tell me the what it was like doing overnight, because I imagine overnight was all the weirdos, and then the morning, and then the afternoon drive.
Okay, so there's a different feel for it all. Now, when you're doing a morning, when you're a morning jock, you've got a lot of material. It's got a lot of comedy. You've got all the bigwigs are in there, all the bosses are in there, and everyone's listening to you. So you've got to run a tight ship. Every contest is on the up and up. Your request lines will be answered, which we'll get into that too.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work. Now, afternoon drive, you've got a lot of commercial spots because this is a big time slot. People are going home. I had the freedom to play music. Like when the sun was going down, I knew exactly what kind of song I'd want to play. Just got to make sure that, it's all about time. And if you're going to dump one song, make sure number one, it's not a hit. Number two, the time is going to match on, pretty close to what you got. Because you can talk it up to take care of 20 seconds if you want. But the nighttime, being that midnight DJ, for me, Oh, that was the fun. Yeah, you get a lot of weirdos.
Yeah.
But those weirdos were my regulars.
Yeah.
And man, they didn't want to just call to request music. They wanted someone to talk to. They listen to you every night, and they get a grab. They think they know who you are, and you become their friend. And I always thought the request line was all up and up. I had no idea what a request line really is, and that is how radio stations. That's how they know what we're listening to. That's where we get. That's where we get our demographics and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. A lot of, especially FM stations, there's a playlist, and you got to stick to that playlist. If they call and request a song, you look on your playlist, and if you got it coming up, you can tell them, you know what? If you give me, 20 minutes, I'll get that song on for you. And it gives them that feel that you're playing the requests.
Yeah.
But every single request that comes in, you write it down on a request log.
Okay.
And that's where the music director pulls that every week, and he knows. People are, asking for this song. People like this song.
Gotcha.
So now, what are we going to do with that on the rotation? We're going to pop that into a heavier rotation.
Gotcha. Okay,
Yeah,
I see.
and that's how we make songs hits for these artists.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. Now you said that you liked the overnight. What do you have a few stories from some of the callers that or just your experience? Like give me some juicy stories from your overnight stuff.
Well, there were times. Now I have two roommates at the time. Okay, we're all the same age. We're 19. We have this little apartment in Oildale, and it's just the three of us. So it's Friday night, and I'm doing the overnight shift at KKXX. Now, everyone cruising Chester, which by the way used to be a thing to do here.
Yeah.
Everyone's cruising Chester, and they've got me on. So my buddies, my roommates are out there cruising Chester, and they're telling all these girls, hey, that guy on the radio, hey, Chris Thomas, that's our roommate. It happens so frequently. I would come home in the morning from my shift, and there'd be 5 girls in my apartment, one in my bed, and that's how my buddies used me to get laid a lot.
Oh my gosh! Yeah. Right. Okay.
And they leave me the dog in the bed, and I'm like, hey, what's up with this, man? I'm rolling this lady over, going, honey, you gotta move.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. That's so funny, dude. Like I said, dude. Like you guys are kind of like rock stars.
Yeah. Back then, it was cool.
That back then, yeah. Now, no.
Cool,
yeah. I mean, it is interesting. Like, there's still DJs. Like, okay, there's one guy, local. I'll just say his name, Danny Spanks. He's still doing it, man.
I know Danny.
You know Danny?
So
okay.
When I went to Kelly 95, he was fixing to go to Crab Radio, so I was taking his spot.
Oh, okay.
So he trained me up at Kelly 95, and the first time I met Dan, he was training me. I believe it was my first night, and I pull in all my music. Now at Kelly there was no vinyl. Now everything's on the cart machines.
Yeah.
And a little bit of CD. So I pull in all my music, and as I do, I accidentally knocked his coffee mug off the console, and it broke.
Oh,
and,
no.
He got it from his grandfather who passed away, and he was in the service. God, I felt so horrible. That was my first encounter with Danny.
With Danny? Yeah.
We're cool now. I see him every now and again, and we're cool. As a matter of fact, I'm working on going to Q92 actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love the music. I love the format, and I really think I'd be a good fit there. I haven't done radio in a while, and I'm ready to.
Yeah.
I like to see. I'm almost 20 years sober, and I really like to see what I can do with radio sober.
Yeah. Where all of your drive and everything is just aimed towards that.
Yeah.
That's cool, man.
I like to see what can happen.
What do they play?
Classic hits.
Okay.
Kind of like Kelly, but I mean, you'll hear pop, you'll hear country. They play a lot of everything. That's what I like about them. You'll hear the Beatles, Billy Idol. You hear Olivia Newton-John.
What's the frequency again?
92.3.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I know I've listened to it then. Yeah, because as I'm driving, sometimes I'll just listen to the radio. Not too much, but yeah. Actually, I think that might be a high def channel too. So I don't know. Anyways, that's cool, man. That's cool. So do you know some of the other like local guys? Cause no. Okay.
No, I've been out of the business, so that's why it's hard for me to get my foot back in the door. And I don't have any more. I don't have any air checks. Now look, to get into radio, you need an air check. This is a tape of what you sound like on the radio, and that's what they want. It's an audio resume.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I have none of those left, and I used to have a whole bunch of them. But KUZZ, man, every time I sent one to him, the guy, he'd keep my air check and wouldn't hire me.
Really?
Yeah. Number one station in town. I mean, you really got to have your shit together there, you know?
Yeah.
And which I did. I just couldn't, I guess I couldn't build the rapport I needed. So here I am, and I'm working on it. I'm going to try to get me, I need to get into a production room. If I can get myself into a production room, I can write a couple spots and put them together, and now I got an audio resume. Now they know what I sound like. It's not easy.
Yeah.
But I'm ready. And when I do get back in, I can't wait.
Are you ready for, because I know when was it that you last did it? You said 20 years ago, but.
Oh, yeah, it's been 20 years.
Yeah, so what year was your last year in radio?
I couldn't tell you. It's been that long. It's been a while.
So, I mean, it has changed a lot.
Yeah, it's all digital now.
Yeah, everything's digital. And do you think that you can?
Oh, yeah. You know, it just makes it easier. What it does, it just takes the personality away.
Yeah.
You know, but I'm a little different now. I'm a little more grown up, more mature. And for me, they say it's like truck driving. Once you do it, it gets into your blood, and it's in my blood. You know, some people are good at things, and some people are born to do it. I was just born to do radio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, shoot, if you were taking turntables when you're a little kid, and doing commercials and all that stuff, yeah, man, that's something very not normal. Yeah. So, and that's why I'm kind of curious. Like, I know that we've talked about maybe you doing like podcasting and stuff, but I mean, you're more into the radio aspect of like playing music and stuff like that. And that's the one thing that I think podcasts have a hard time doing because of all the copyright infringement.
Oh yeah.
You know, you have to have the okay from everyone, and like me and my co-host Max, we had an episode where it was all about music, and we had like a bunch of songs that we liked, and the kinds of music that we liked, but it's just sitting on the computer. We can't play it.
Right.
I mean, we could play it to people if they were like, say, paid subscribers or something like that. Sure. So we gave them a special code for that one, or whatever. But you can't run your whole podcast like that. So, it is unfortunate because it would be cool. It would be great to be able to have more podcasts where, you did it like a DJ.
Absolutely.
That'd be so much fun. Yeah, but
it's
unfortunately,
kind of like, I think you and I were talking about the other day about MTV, and the first video ever aired on MTV was Buggles. Video killed the music star, or radio star. Yeah. And internet kind of killed the radio star.
Yeah, I was actually thinking that the other day. I was like,
it really did. Yeah. When XM came out, Sirius Radio came out, that's when I was like, shit. It's about to change. Yeah. Everything. Radio as we know it, guys. It's about to change.
Well, when let's see, back in what year was it? I think it was like 2000, and I think it was like 2002 or 3. Yeah. I discovered a station on the internet. It was an internet radio station called Wolf FM, and I loved it. Played all the stuff, like my favorite songs from the 80s and the 90s. And I was like, dude, this is great. And then I was thinking at that time, I'm like, there's got to be some way that I could go ahead and do my own show and put it out there.
That's right.
And, I wish I did because, I mean, I wasn't in a good place at that time, but I wish I did. I could have been one of the pioneers for podcasting, but, yeah, man, once internet radio, once you could start getting it on your computer anywhere, and I'll tell you, the phone. Once the phone came into play and you can literally have everything in your pocket, then it just changed everything.
Right.
I mean, myself, I still like, I like baseball.
Okay.
And I still prefer listening to a baseball game on the radio
Okay.
over watching it. And, there's that nostalgia,
Sure.
but we used to go, like me and my dad, we used to go to the baseball games in San Francisco, and we would bring the radio with us, and you can't really do that. Like,
Right.
you're not like turning the dial, so there's, you can play it on your phone.
Sure.
But then you're like, I don't know. Then you're kind of being to me. I feel like you've got that phone and you're looking at it, and instead of watching the game, being into the game, being into everything that's around you, you're more attached to that phone. So the technology is great because it's more available to everyone. But I miss.
We could do about it.
No, but I miss
growing and growing and
yeah,
growing.
but I miss the old days. I mean, and also too, like. I feel like it's only a matter of time before they get rid of all DJs and they just have AI do it.
Yeah, I've been waiting for that day. Actually,
Yeah.
I've been scared for that day for a long time, for many years.
Yeah.
But it still keeps plugging. You mentioned you're a baseball guy. That's another gig I got when I was younger.
Oh, really?
I was an announcer at the Bakersfield Dodgers.
Oh, really?
For
Okay.
like 5 months, and I was horrible at it because I'm not a baseball guy, and I don't know the game, at least not well enough to be calling it.
Yeah.
And I got to introduce Oral Hershiser.
Did you really?
That was the neatest thing I got to do.
That's cool.
Gave Mike Piazza a hell of a time. That guy just doesn't like me at all.
Who?
Mike Piazza.
Mike Piazza.
Yeah. There's two celebrities that don't like me much. It's he and Dr. Phil. And that's another.
Wait, hold on. Dr. Phil?
Yeah, Dr. Phil.
Is that a story you could tell?
Yeah.
Okay, please do tell.
I have a roommate at the time. Now, this is a guy I was doing comedy with.
Okay, what year is this?
Okay, this is going to be probably 2004.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, my son was just born. So my buddy and I, he's a big guy. He wants to go on this show, The Biggest Loser.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they're doing auditions. So we go to Hollywood and we go to audition for him, for The Biggest Loser. So he gets there and he's looking at all these people and he's like, I don't think I want to exploit myself like this.
Yeah.
Man, so you're going to change your mind? Yeah, so, all right, we're in Hollywood. Well, what are we going to do? So we decided, well, let's go to a taping of a TV show. So we went to see a taping of That 70s Show. Which is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So we go to this taping of That 70s Show. We're having fun, and we're walking out afterwards onto the soundstage. The night before, he and I just did a gig at the comedy club, or the comedy store, where I was doing some Dr. Phil. And it went over well.
You were telling some jokes about Dr. Phil? Okay, gotcha.
Tell a few jokes. Doing a little Dr. Phil bit. And
okay.
So, as we're walking off the studio lot, I come right into this tall man in this tennis suit. And it's Dr. Phil. And he's with like 3 guys. So, I'm right behind him. And of course, because the guy that I am, I say out loud, it doesn't matter how flat the pancake, there's always 2 sides. Now I'm going to put some verbs in my adjectives and some verbs in my sentences when we come back. And this man turned to me and he looked at me with he's got these blue beady eyes.
Yeah.
And he told me, you think you're funny, mister, but you're not very funny. I didn't know what to say. It was kind of like he pulled a Jedi mind trick on me. I just kind of looked at him like, oh, okay. Yeah. Of course, my roommate's like, great. He's pissed off Dr. Phil, man. And I think, I called Dr. Drew Pinsky Dr. Dre one time by accident.
Really?
Yeah, he was out on Hollywood Boulevard and he was filming one of his things. And my buddy said, there's Dr. Drew. And we'd had some drinks before that. And I was like, hey, there's one I haven't met. I walked right up to this guy, shake his hand. I'm on Dr. Dre. Yeah.
Wrong doctor.
Wrong doctor.
It would have been funnier if you're a Dr. Pepper.
No, doctor. Oh, yeah. I probably got my ass kicked right there.
Oh, that's funny, man.
I remember my buddy looking at me. You did not just call him Dr. Dre.
He looks nothing like Dr. Dre.
And I'm so inebriated. I'm like there's a difference.
That's funny. Well, I'm glad that you're wanting to get back into the radio thing, and I hope that you're able to do that.
Yeah, yeah, we'll see. You just got to keep punching.
Yeah.
You just got to keep punching at it. Persistence wins the game.
Well, I mean, I think also too, like, without a shadow of a doubt that you are a radio guy,
Oh yeah,
and I think that's really great that somebody. I think it's great when somebody knows who they are and what they want to be, and they pursue it. And then, like you said, you've been sober and clean for
about 20 years.
For 20 years now. So now's an opportunity for you to write like another chapter in the radio biz.
I'd like to.
Yeah.
I'd like to. I'm a father. I have a son, and I try to teach him that no matter what you want, go get it. And it doesn't matter how old you are. If it's something that you really feel is something that you want, go for it. As far as radio is something that it's not just something that I want, it's something I feel like I need.
Yeah.
It's kind of like playing music. I'm not as good as I used to be, that's for sure. But it's like playing music. It's how I feel. It's my soul.
Yeah.
There's a need for it. And radio, it's kind of like as soon as I slip into that seat, I get those headphones on, and that mic turns on.
Yeah.
I get turned on.
Get a little boner every time.
There's for me, there's no other feeling like it. I feel at home.
Yeah.
I feel at home.
Yeah.
I feel comfortable. Yeah.
No, I know the feeling, man. I used to like really want to be on stage all the time, and I used to want to just be creative. I wanted to be doing comedy or doing sketches, just coming up with ideas for sketches and movies, and like that was what I was. But my ex-wife sucked all that out of me. So so after that, I became more serious.
Sure.
And but I do get that because I used to crave it. I
Right.
used to want that all the time, and so I understand the feeling that you have. Yeah.
Yeah, I always said, boy, Lorne Michaels has no idea what he's missing here. That's for sure. Because I also love to write sketch comedy, and it's something I do. I naturally do it. I'll sit at home and I'll get an idea, and man, thank God I have a great wife. She's my best friend because she has to listen to all my shit.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of it, man. When you're married to a person like me, who's I'm always creative.
Yeah.
Man, you got to put up with a lot of it. She does. And it really sucks because to not have an outlet for that creativity.
Yep.
That's frustrating. It really is. But that's just on me. I've got to create that.
Yeah. Well, that's why I'm doing this. This is something that I wanted to do, and there is a little bit of creativity in it. I mean, me and my co-host Max, we crack jokes. We do stories that are outrageous, or we talk about weird stuff.
Sure.
So but I am also a curious person. That's why I like to do interviews. That's why I like to talk to people, and to me, I feel like you have an interesting story. Just the idea, because going from radio, from how it used to be, to now what I think is today's radio.
Yes.
Because a lot of people don't listen to the terrestrial radio that they used to, and more people are listening to podcasts. So I just thought, I'd love to be able to go ahead and talk to somebody who has that experience, and
as a disc jockey, you listen to the radio different than other people.
Yeah.
I love the music when I'm on the air,
Yeah.
but when I'm not and I'm listening to the radio, I'm listening to the jock. I'm listening to what he's doing.
Yeah.
And I'm listening to those commercials. Man, that drives my wife crazy. She'll be jumbling from one station to another because the song on this station sucks, and then she'll hit another station, and boom, there's a commercial on. I'm like, that one right there, baby.
Yeah. That's funny.
It's commercials. I know.
Yeah, it's important.
I know.
Yeah. So, do you have getting back to some music? What's one song that you remember having to play so much because it was like, a top song, and then you just couldn't stand it?
Okay.
Like every single time it came on, you're like, ugh.
Perfect example. I'm thinking 1992. I'm at KKXX, and it's CHR, Contemporary Hit Radio.
Yeah.
There's a song on the charts, It was by Sinead O'Connor called "Nothing Compares to You." Now,
Okay.
look,
Yeah.
that song's rotation was so heavy that I just started dumping it. And
What does that mean to
that
dump
means
it?
that whenever it would come on my playlist,
Uh-huh.
I'd put something else on.
Oh, okay.
Man,
Bless you for doing that, because I hate it when the songs do just
so a couple days later, I go to work and there's a big note in the control room. It says, Sinead O'Connor's "Nothing Compares to You" is a hit. People love it. Whether you like it or not, if I catch you dumping the song, you're dumping your job. And you know who you are. Ah, man. And at Kelly 95, because, gosh, we were 60s, 70s, 80s, all the way up to today. Man, Bill Me Up Buttercup.
Yeah.
I had to start dumping that song because I'm like, it comes up twice. I'm like, man, we have 3 or 4 decades of music and we keep playing Bill Me Up Buttercup.
Yeah.
You know? So I would always take that song because the timing was almost the same. And I replaced it with maybe Phil Collins "In the Air Tonight."
Yeah.
You know, and my listeners appreciated that.
Yeah.
The programmer, not director, not so much. But oh yeah, there was a lot of those songs too, especially in the 80s when music was king. Pop music was king in the 80s. There was a lot of one-hit wonders out there. And those hits were big. Dexy's "Midnight Runners," "Come On Eileen." Jeez Louise. I mean, great song. But man, I played the heck out of that song, man.
Yeah, my wife put it on a playlist for like our travel, whatever, and I'm like, okay, I think I need to start making these playlists, because she would put it on every single playlist. And I'm like, I know you like it, and I know you think I like it, but I don't like it as much as you think I like it, because I'm tired of hearing it. Because we would hear it like on the way out a couple times, and we would hear it on the way back, because you put it on shuffle, and the shuffle doesn't work that great.
Right.
So so it's just yeah.
And anything from Art Garfunkel I would dump.
Oh, okay.
And "Sound of Silence."
Oh yeah.
Man, now as a DJ, that song will put you to sleep. Now we have these songs as DJs. We always keep these songs in our pockets. We call our shit songs. So, like, man, if you really gotta go take a dump, and it happens.
Yeah.
Except I guess in case unless you're Casey Kasem, but
yeah. Good callback.
These are long songs like "American Pie," you know.
Yeah.
Put on some Don McLean and you got some time, you know.
Inagata-Davida.
Inagata-Davida, right. I
heard it through the grapevine, the CCR version.
Colin Baton Rouge "New Grass Revival." I think it's 15 minutes long.
Oh, really? Okay.
Oh my Lord! When I was doing country, well, that's when me and some of the other DJs would put that song on, and we'd go in the production room, and well, it's the 80s. Cocaine was king back then,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And then you find yourself going into a ballad, Hey,
Yeah.
Then your line rings, and your boss is calling you. Okay?
Yeah. You're a little worked up for that slow song we're gonna play.
They used to tell me at Kelly 95 because it was a little easier listening that I considered myself a power jock, and I was going from power DJing from a Power 105 KKXX, and I had to mellow it down. That was really hard because naturally I'm a high strung person. I mean, you work with me, you see, I just go. Strong, So I would have to use tools like mood lighting. I would bring in, especially, during the midnight to sixes, I'd bring in my own mood lighting. I'd put me a red light on or a blue light on, anything I need, if I need to mellow out or whatever, I never used a chair. I think I was one of the only DJs that I really met that didn't sit down and do his gig.
Oh, really? Yeah.
I always stood up. I don't even sit down at home. The fact that you got me sitting right here, my wife would not believe it.
Oh, should I take a picture?
I always prop the mic up. I stand up. I take the chair completely out, and that's how I run my show.
Yeah.
You learn that, like, the contests, when I learned that some of them weren't always on the up and up, man, that broke my heart. I was like, man, all those times as a kid, I tried to, win these contests on the radio and it never got in.
Yeah.
Now, there's certain, like the morning shift and your afternoon. This is when the bosses are in, man. You're going to run it right. You're going to run it tight. But I remember the times when I would, like, be giving away 2 tickets to, or maybe dinner for 2 at the Black Angus. Be my 13th caller at 842-KKXX and, win dinner for 2 at Black Angus. Anything you want right now. My lines are open. My lines aren't open. Before the contest, I'd get my reel-to-reel ready, and I'd just call one of my buddies.
Yeah.
And I noticed a lot of DJs did that, like if they're giving away money. Oh, man. You just call up your buddy, hey, look, man, we're going to go to Black Angus on Wednesday. and you tell them what to say, cue it up. And as soon as you run that, my request lines are open. Call now. Hold. Get it all ready. Go to your spot. Bam. Hi, who do I have? All of a sudden, those request lines go dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are that's the dirt. That's some of the dirt,
Yeah. Well, and I've heard about like payola and stuff like that,
Yeah, Dick Clark.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dick Clark, man.
Yeah. So I mean,
he was a legend too, but big payola guy.
Yeah, but I mean, I know that the record business, the music business, is a business. So and with most business, there's a lot of bad things. So I get it. Yeah, but I don't. You were saying something about you having to like bring it down.
Yeah.
Your level of excitement, and it reminded me of I used to have this idea for I wanted to do a sketch, but it would be like a radio sketch, and it was the DJ. It was for like a smooth jazz thing.
Okay.
But he's like, you're listening to K-Rad, the only station to survive the radiation. Your next song up is Smooth Operator by Sade. And then it would play like Smooth Operator.
Sure.
And then after that, it would play, and up next is Kenny G's Bird Song. I think that's the name of the song. And then it would play that. And then after that, he's like, we only have 2 songs. So next up is Sade's Smooth Operator. So like the only 2 songs that survived the whole apocalypse were Sade and Kenny G. I just like the idea. I thought like out of all the music to survive,
right,
the only thing that survived were those 2 smooth jazz songs.
Oh, yeah.
Because those are the songs that would always drive me nuts. Every time you're in the dentist's office, that's all, And then I always thought it'd be funny too, if if Macho Man was a DJ for smooth jazz. He's like, I'm Macho Man Randy Savage, and you're listening to smooth jazz. Oh yeah. So that would be funny.
Yeah, there were a lot. There's been a lot of doing comedy. There were a lot of I've seen stand-up jokes, about God, who would be the worst person in radio? The last one you'd want was Gilbert Godfrey.
Yeah.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Or Bobcat Goldthwait, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, man. I think I like Bobcat as a.
He wasn't great, right?
Yeah, he's mellow. Have you seen him recently?
Yeah.
Yeah, his recent stand up. He's mellow. That was such a thing for him to be that wild character, that time. I mean, it was in the 80s, and that was the same kind of thing as Robin Williams and Howie Mandel. But like both of those guys, all 3 of those guys, they all mellowed out.
I just always loved his delivery. I lost my job the other day. I mean, I didn't lose it or anything. It's just when I got there was someone else doing it.
Yeah,
I lost my wife the other day. I mean, I didn't lose anything. It's just when I got home, there was someone else doing it. He always had the best delivery on it.
Dude, that's a pretty good Bobcat impression, man. Yeah. No, that he was roommates with the guy who did the original voice for SpongeBob.
No, I didn't.
Yeah. What's his name? Tom something. So because there was Tomcat and Bobcat, and they were like a duo, I think, but they were roommates, and they were both trying to get into comedy. And Bobcat did, Tomcat didn't. He just got into like voice acting and stuff. But yeah,
I know his wife was hot. Nikki Cox, Bobcat.
Oh, is it? Oh, yeah. Wait, what? Weren't they in a TV show together? I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was kind of a knockoff of Married with Children.
Yeah, but he didn't Bobcat play the bunny or something? A dust bunny?
Yeah, he played the stuffed bunny.
Yeah.
Stuffed bunny, yeah.
That's right. Yeah, and she was that redhead,
Mhm,
right?
she's
Okay.
right, yeah, she also did like Las Vegas.
Oh
with-
yeah,
with
that
Caan, with,
that shit.
James Caan, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
All
yeah,
right.
he married hot, man. See, that just goes to show you. I mean, even Mick Jagger got laid, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it just depends on who you are.
Yeah.
And
That's true.
personality goes a hell of a long way.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what they tried to tell me, but you know, you got to have that confidence too, and those guys have confidence.
Yeah, you gotta,
Yeah. So,
absolutely.
you know, but okay, so I know that we also talked about, I mean, we talked all about the radio and stuff, and I'd kind of like to go on to our last little bit.
Okay.
And our show, or our show is kind of, there's a lot of like conspiracy stuff, and we talk about ghosts. I don't like to call it conspiracy because it's, you know, we're not talking about governments and not, you know, necessarily, but I like to say it's alternative thought.
Okay.
Right.
All
So
right.
so we talk about Bigfoot, we talk about ghosts and aliens and things like that. And I know that you said when we were talking at work, number one, you like your favorite show of all time is Quantum Leap.
Oh, you want to talk about Quantum Leap? Oh,
I want to know.
Love Quantum Leap.
Yeah, I want to know, what is it about Quantum Leap that you like? So I mean, it's a great show, but it's been so long since I've seen it. I saw it when I was a kid, and I'm trying to, and I'm like, what was it about that show that you like?
So for me, Quantum Leap. Quantum Leap started to air when I was in high school. And I remember I was doing a lot of theater back then.
Yeah.
I love to do theater as well. And every time I would come home, that shit would be on, and I hated it. I couldn't even stand the way it came on. I couldn't stand the theme song, and it seemed like it was always on. It wasn't until it went into syndication, I caught it on the Sci-Fi Channel, and there was a certain episode. It was called Pool Hall Blues, and I actually got the gist of what the show is about. And I always been fascinated with time travel,
Okay.
time travel and quantum physics. I'm not mathematically smart at all, but I do love the whole idea and the fantasy of it. And the way this was put together hooked me like something. And from that episode on, I just started following it and watching it, and I just fell deeply in love with the way it was structured, the acting, the idea, the fantasy. Who knows? So much that I have one son, and I even named him Samuel Allen.
Yeah.
After Quantum Leap. The soundtrack, Donald Belisario just put it together so well. I thought you just couldn't wait to see what kind of adventure they're going to throw this guy onto next.
Yeah.
And when it comes down to acting, Scott Bakula, man, he's a Swiss Army knife.
Yeah.
This guy he sings, he writes music for it, he plays, he does it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you said that you were into time travel.
Yes.
And that kind of fits in with a lot of stuff we talk about. We've never talked about time travel. Maybe a little bit, but we haven't had a whole show about it. What do you think? Do you think that time travel is something that's real?
I think it's possible. And I believe that it's happened. Now look, Stephen Hawking said, if time travel was possible, they would already be here.
Yeah, exactly.
Who's to say they aren't? They aren't, and who's to say they haven't been? I watch a lot of documentaries on this stuff, and yeah, I believe that time travel is possible. I don't see why not, but obviously, I believe that it's something that's been going on a while.
Well, I think Albert Einstein said that like it's like, I don't know, but I know that it wraps, like it wraps around itself. So like a point in time can meet another point in time in the future or in the past. So I know in Quantum Leap, they didn't physically send him. It was really essentially it's his consciousness. It's his,
It's his soul, his consciousness.
yeah,
Yeah.
that went into the past and all these different people.
That's correct. Yeah.
So really, what was I can't remember the name of his sidekick.
Oh, it was Al Dean Stockwell.
Yeah, Al, right? Yeah, Al. So Al is really just a figment of his imagination.
Yeah, he's a hologram that's tuned into his frequency, his brain frequency that only Sam can hear and see.
Yeah. So I mean, it's all just consciousness. So I mean, it's kind of, to me, I feel like that's something that they're kind of going towards, because I have heard them talking about like uploading our consciousness into like computers, so then that way we can live forever.
Right.
But if that were the case, then they can send us into any body, any time, kind of a thing.
And another good theory is like through hypnosis.
Yeah.
Now there's another one of my favorite movies of all time. It's called Somewhere in Time.
Okay.
And it's Christopher Reeve, Jane Seymour, Christopher Plummer's in it as well. And it's the idea that this guy is a playwright, played by Christopher Reeve, and he needs some time alone, so he goes to this beautiful old hotel. I mean, and this place is like the Overlook Hotel from The Shining. This place is gorgeous.
I think I've heard about this movie. Yeah.
There. He is a playwright, so he's in the theater. Well, they have a little museum in there, and he sees a picture of this woman who was an actress back in the early 1900s, and he obsesses with this picture to the point to where he tries to time travel to meet her, and he does it all through hypnosis.
Ah, okay.
And, it's a great movie, but boy, it's long. It's long-winded.
Yeah.
Great date movie, by the way.
Yeah.
I used to take girls, and they'll cry at the end every time. But I always thought that was really cool. The whole idea. So there's a lot of different theories out there.
That's interesting. Yeah. Okay, now, and this will be the last thing, because I know one other thing that we had talked about was you are into aliens.
Okay.
So what got your curiosity going with the aliens, and have you had an experience with it?
Okay, so ever since I was a little kid, I've always thought, I always thought it was kind of cool.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I got a little bit older that, all this evidence is resurfacing, and to think that we're the only intelligent beings, it just doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. I'm not buying that.
Yeah.
There is so much out there, so much proof that's out there, and there's no question that our government's been covering and stuff forever.
Oh yeah.
And they're slowly coming to us with it. There's a guy out there. He was one of the biggest whistleblowers in Area 51. His name was Bob Lazar.
Yeah, I know Bob Lazar.
So
yeah,
Bob Lazar,
I know of him.
That man interests me. I heard a story about they actually had a living alien that helped them reverse engineer. They called him J-Rod. And they had microbiologists trying to keep this thing alive. And to listen to Bob Lazar, he's credible. He really is. Just interesting. His whole story and what he has to say about it, it blows everything kind of wide open.
Yeah.
And like I said, we all know he's there. We all know he worked there. I don't know. I just think Bob Lazar was a really interesting character.
Yeah.
For me. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you said that if time traveling was real, then the time travelers would be here.
Yes.
But I think the same could be said about aliens.
I agree.
Aliens could be here as well, walking amongst us.
Yeah.
And they could very well be the same people, time traveling aliens. So you never know.
We may have a little bit of alien in our DNA.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever heard of the panspermic theory.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who's to say?
Yeah, we actually in our we had an ancient alien episode, and we were talking about that kind of stuff. Yeah,
right.
That the aliens were the ones that created us and all that stuff.
Right. There's a lot out there. I'm gonna try to this summer get out to Utah with a couple of UFO seekers. It's just a little hobby, a craving.
Yeah.
a craving kind of.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want to know? But I think it'd be kind of fun to spend some of my time looking for something like that.
Yeah.
It's just, I'm just a weird person. I'm just that way. I'm different. I'm made differently. And I know that pisses my dad off. You know, I know he wants me to get back into construction again and make good money, stop talking about aliens and time travel and all this stuff, you know. But it's just who I am.
Yeah.
You know, and I just think it would be a lot of fun, no matter what we find, to go out there and explore. It's really important that our youth, they're so limited now. Oh, they just want to sit around and play games and video games. They're not using their creativity. They're not using their imagination and get out and explore.
Yeah.
And a lot of and we got these billionaires. Thank God for these guys that are out there spending their money to work on this for us, to help us as a society come to a conclusion, you know. And I believe it's gonna be soon. We're gonna hear about it. It's gonna come.
What do you think?
Well, as far as we're gonna find out, they're here.
That the aliens are here? Okay,
and
gotcha.
that they've been here. You know.
Yeah.
I think it might, in my lifetime, we might see that. And the government seems to kind of be opening up a little bit, but to the public, there's an outcry.
Yeah.
The public, you know, there's more interest in that now.
Mm-hmm.
Even Bigfoot, there's
Oh, yeah.
more interest in it than ever.
Yeah.
So more people are out there and they're looking for this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, as far as I'm concerned, Bigfoot and stuff, I think that could be like parallel universes stuff. You know, you know, getting into kind of stuff like that.
Yeah.
I know, you know, you were talking about portals and stuff. You know, I believe in all that stuff without a shadow of a doubt. I believe there are portals, and there are things you don't mess with. You're not going to go into my house, and you're not going to go find Ouija boards and shit in my house. You know,
Mine either. No. Yeah.
Because there's doors, you know, you just don't want to be open. And if you are going to do that and you're going to explore that,
You need to know how to shut them.
Be careful.
Yeah. Well, you need to know how to shut them and be able to protect yourself when you get in there.
Very, very careful before you mess with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you got girls at a slumber party doing a Ouija board and then like opening up some kind of portal to who knows what.
Yeah, you hear about it all the time.
Yeah, and then bad things happen.
Spirits, ghosts. I have a really good friend of mine who has the best ghost story. Now, I worked with this lady for a long time, and she's been on several TV shows, Paranormal Witness.
Oh, okay.
They've even done documentaries. Her ghost experience is one of the most video documented ghost experience to date.
Okay.
It was the San Pedro hauntings.
All right.
And she was part of that. And to go to her house and just be bullshitting with her, and we're having drinks or having dinner, and you just see a ball roll down her hallway, and it'll turn around and come back.
Come back, huh?
Um,
What was that called again? The San Pedro.
The San Pedro hauntings.
San Pedro. Okay, I'll look it up.
It's really good. There's a lot on it, and it's very well documented. The video that they've got, these video guys that went in, it got some really cool stuff.
Really? Okay.
I mean, the walls are bleeding and all kinds of stuff.
All right, I'm going to write that down right now.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Always take note of the cool shit.
Hell yeah. San Pedro haunting. All right. Excellent. Yeah, I'm gonna look that up.
Yeah, really interesting. And so I mean, there's a lot out there that we don't know about. It's kind of like my mom was really into Sylvia Brown.
Oh,
and
okay. Yeah. Oh, God.
Go see them.
Yeah.
You know. Now look, magic is another hobby of mine that I've done since I was a little kid. I'm a magician at hobby. I'm gonna have to get back into it because now I'm becoming a grandfather.
Yeah.
But I always dug magic, so I was aware of how a lot of mediums work. I'm not saying that they're not real, because I do believe that there's certain people out there that certain people can do certain things that we can't. Certain people can move their eyebrows a certain way. Certain people can use, I can't do that. Some people can use a part of their brain that we can't. And I believe that that's true. But man, yeah, my mom she was so into that.
Yeah.
And it seems like they're tapering off.
The false mediums,
The
or just
mediums.
I think they're just moving on to a different
They're doing
avenue.
something different.
Yeah,
now.
yeah, different
John
direction.
Edwards, she saw him. Sylvia Brown, she saw a couple times. Oh, and that chick from Long Island.
The Long Island medium.
Yeah. Oh, my mother just thought she was the
Yeah.
best one, you know. And I find her interesting, and I think she's got some credibility. She may be for real, but
I think that if you look at them, anybody who is a celebrity medium, if you look at it as entertainment, then I
Yeah.
think that's safe. If you take it too seriously, then I think that could be a problem.
right.
But but even if people are lying to you like that, it still doesn't. I still find it fascinating,
Sure.
because I mean, for them to be good enough to be able to fool people, like, I think that's pretty impressive. I
They
did
a
have
lot of help.
yeah, I'm sure.
have a
Yeah, I'm
lot
sure they
of
do.
help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's just like the preachers that used to travel,
Yeah.
and the big old tent, and then they would end up, they'd have a little earpiece, and then somebody would tell them, oh, this person's whatever, and like, oh,
One of the
they
oldest
heal.
tricks in the book.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. But I had one time where I had my cards read, tarot cards, and I never met this lady, and I wasn't talking about anything in her vicinity. And she ended up, she's holding my hands or whatever, and she ended up saying, water is very important to you. And I'm like, okay. And I tried not to, like, lead her on
Yeah.
to what it would be, or trying to feed her information. I didn't want to feed her any
Right.
information. And she said, water is important to you, or water was important to you. And that she said, you died, you drowned, you were on a ship attacked by pirates. And then I was like, okay, that makes sense, because I can't swim.
Okay.
And I'm deathly afraid of water.
Okay.
So it's like, and I never believed in, like, past lives or anything. And then when that happened, I'm like, oh wow, maybe there's some truth to that. Oh yeah, sorry about that. The thing, do you want
Okay.
you want a bungee cord or something?
No.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Anyway, we'll wrap it up here in a minute too, but that's cool. That's cool that you are into all that stuff. You might actually enjoy our episodes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
because we got a lot of different stuff. We have an episode where we talk about dinosaurs are fake,
Okay.
and dragons are real.
Right.
And we have we have some episodes where we talk about how Ben Affleck is an overrated actor.
Ben Affleck is an overrated actor.
Thank you. Yeah, I can't stand that guy. I want to punch him in the face. Yeah, but
Be careful, you have Matt Damon all over your ass.
oh, well, I like Matt Damon. He's all right. But yeah, and Kevin Smith too, because I think they're all buddies. But yeah, we have some interesting episodes, and we don't get super deep. I mean, our show is mostly about, like, asking a question,
Yeah.
and then thinking of what the possibilities could be. So the same thing, like, with time travel.
Sure.
And I think our next episode, we're going to talk about underground tunnels that
Okay.
connect all of America.
Right.
And I don't know if you've ever heard of any of that stuff,
A little
but
bit.
yeah. So, like, sometimes they say that one of the stories is that all of the Walmarts have secret underground tunnels that connect all across America to all the other Walmarts or something like that. Yeah, there's just a bunch of crazy stuff. So we just like taking these crazy, interesting stories that a lot of, like, conspiracy
Sure.
theorists end up having, and then we end up talking about it. Yeah, we're just and the thing is we don't necessarily believe in it all, but we like to talk about it because
Get
the
it out there.
the important thing is
Get it out there.
the important thing is for people to ask questions, right? And
That's
to
it.
try to think for themselves. So that's what we like to do. So, but yeah, man, I think we're pretty much done. Is there anything that you want to say as I play the horns out? And
No, man, actually, I appreciate you having me. This was a lot of fun.
yeah, dude.
And maybe we could do this again. No, it was really cool. It's kind of like scratching an itch for me a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's kind of scratching that radio itch. This is something I've always wanted to do, and now I can put this on my list. And
Yeah.
like I said, I appreciate you having me. That's really cool.
I wish the audio quality was better, so then that way we could get you a reel out of this. But yeah,
we'll work on it. Okay.
yeah. So, all right, man, I'm gonna play this outro stuff, man. It was good talking to you, and I'll see you at work.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. All right, man. Take it easy.